we thought we'd jump on. It's football season. Training camp officially gets underway tomorrow, Jono, and there's been some big news, obviously, from the press conference that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have given today. A couple of thoughts that I've got on them, but mate, how are you, mate? Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a while since we've been on, and we're back into another footy season.
Yeah, no, really good. I can't believe we're back here again. I've been counting. It feels like it goes forever, and then all of a sudden it's here and upon us. So, looking forward to a good season from the 49ers, and excited for training camp start tomorrow.
Yeah, and I guess let's just jump straight into it, mate. Make it snappy. Brock is back, and we've got really laggy. You're saying. Am I lagging? Yeah, am I? Well, I'm not lagging here. But
we're kind of lagging in between the combos.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so the big thing out of the press conference was that Brock Purdy is ready to go. He's been cleared by his doctors. The news is that the velocity via GPS trackers on his passes are fine. We thought he wouldn't be back. I was a little bit disappointed, and I shouldn't be disappointed, but you're the same as me. We're Trey Lance guys. I wanted Trey Lance to get the majority of the reps, but we knew that he was going to split them with Sam. Now they're going to be even more diluted with Sam and Brock being back. But were you surprised that Brock's back?
I am. I was surprised, particularly that he was full go, and I was kind of hoping that Trey would get a chance. It's not. I mean, I'm a fan of Trey Lance, but I'm also I guess I'm disappointed for the fact that I don't know whether he's going to get an opportunity to show us what he's got. And there seems to be he seems to have been doing some good work in the background with Patrick Mahomes, quarterback coach. And he's sort of changed his release. It looks quicker. Everything kind of looks like he was going to have a good season. There's a lot of speculation in football as to whether all of this stuff is about beefing up his trade value. Versus whether he's going to get a true crack or not. But I'm a big fan of Trey, and it's going to be interesting watching.
Yeah, he looks a lot better than me. Jeff Christensen is the same coach, obviously, as Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, everyone knows that he's the same coach as Patty Mahomes. But it was interesting in the press conference today via some questions that Grant Cohn asked Kyle that what did you send Jimmy to? I mean, not Jimmy. Did you send Trey to Jeff Christensen? He said no, but he kind of downplayed it and said, look, it was almost saying they're a dime a dozen. These guys, these quarterback coaches. The real stuff happens when they get back to me. And again, I think and going on from my long time opinion of Kyle being an egomaniac, and he is very much in the mindset that it's going to happen his way, it's going to happen on his terms, it's going to happen in his time, and that's in regard to the quarterbacks. So yeah, I just don't know what. If we just move on to the next topic real quick, I just don't know what now for Trey Lance, mate. Look, we can't get a lot of the content creators overseas are talking about over in the Bay Area and like Vish and so. Well, especially Vish, he's talking about the amount that they gave up for Trey, but that's the sunk cost fallacy. He is what they gave up for him doesn't matter anymore. It's 3 years ago. What they do with him is their business. I think he's been mishandled, but if he, I see a couple of scenarios, Jono. I see he can either ball right out, look like he reaches his potential. He adds a lot more to the offense, and Brock Purdy is forgotten about a little bit. Sam Darnold's forgotten about, and we go ahead with Trey. Or the other thing is that Brock Purdy keeps continuing on his meteoric rise. Another team has, a Teddy Bridgewater incident, and they trade him. And if you get like a couple of 2s or a 2 and a 3 or a 1 and a 5 or something like that, it's probably something that will be pretty palatable to the Niners. What do you think?
Yeah. I think. Look, there is an element of what Kyle Shanahan is saying that I do agree with. Like I know you've got your opinion on him, but I also think that a lot of what he's going to be looking for is, I mean, you can throw the ball as far as this, you can have your quick releases and everything like that, but he's going to be looking at really what's going on between the ears and the way he's going to the play recognition. Is he getting the ball to where Kyle Shanahan wants it? And I think that's why he loves Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy, for whatever reason, was able to go in there and go, I will put the ball exactly where you want it, and we probably see the game or or go through the reads exactly the same, or the progressions exactly the same way, or exactly what Kyle is looking for. I think that's probably been what Trey Lance hasn't done to what Kyle expects it to be. So it will be a case of, can Trey Lance go back there and be with the understanding of what the progression needs to be on how he views the game can align with how Kyle Shanahan sees the game. Otherwise, it's curtains. Like that's it for him. And definitely it's going to be a QB2. I mean, like if he does enough to show out, I don't really see Sam Darnold as being necessarily an issue or a risk to Trey Lance in QB2. I could be completely wrong on this. I just think that the 49ers knew that there was going to be an adjustment to the way that the NFL allow them to carry their rosters. So the QB3 now, for anyone who doesn't know, is not part of the 53-man roster. So they can carry Sam Darnold at no expense to any other position and just park him there as insurance, essentially, which is what they needed come NFC Championship time when Christian McCaffrey ends up closing out at quarterback for them. So that's I think they're just playing it a clever way, and they've got a pretty decent quarterback 3 in their room.
It's funny you say that. I'm going to play you a clip now, and it's to do with Sam Darnold, and I will bring in Rich Eisen, who interviewed Mike Florio. Mike Florio has got a love-hate relationship with the 49ers. Let's bring him in. Here it is here. Listen to this. Well, he's not moving. Can you hear that?
No, he's not going at the moment. I haven't heard this too, so I'm very interested to listen to what's happened.
Can you hear it? You can't hear it. All right.
Nope.
Let me do something else. Let me bring in something. Let me share. Let me stop that screen. And then I'll share it again. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to get this in so we can hear it. All right, here we go. Let's share that screen. Let's get it in there. All right, here we go.
Quarterback competition. What's your sense of it now that this is finally going to get underway after months of us talking about it? What do you have for me there?
I think as long as Brock Purdy's healthy, he's going to be the guy week 1. But I also believe if there's any hitch in Purdy's recovery from that shoulder surgery, it's Sam Darnold. They've been working hard to get people to understand that even though Trey Lance was the 3rd overall pick and they ultimately invested 3 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick to get him, Darnold is the guy above Lance on the depth chart. And Lance is the guy they're just keeping around as the emergency option because last year they had to use their emergency option. So I think that's how it goes. Purdy if healthy, then Darnold, then Lance, and they keep all 3 because they may have to use all 3.
So Lance would be 3rd on the depth chart, huh? Wow. That's crazy.
See, I 100% disagree with that, mate. And I because of the point that you just made, I think they can carry 3 on the roster. He's a good backup option in terms of having them cold on ice, having him sit on ice. But the thing, there's a Tim. I'll put the link in the YouTube comment section or the YouTube description section. There's a nice interview that Tim Kawakawami. Sorry if I say that word wrong. he had a interview with Kyle straight after the press conference, and he said that he thought they were going to win the NFC Championship with Josh Johnson. They were so confident with the game plan that they had that they thought they were still going to win. So that, again, that number 2. So I'll go back over a couple of points. You said, I think, exactly what is right about Brock Purdy in terms of the way that Kyle Shanahan sees the way a quarterback should play. He talked about in that podcast with Tim Kawakawam. I'll just say Tim. He said that Tim K. He said that in practice he just put the ball where Kyle wanted him to. He didn't want to show out. He didn't want to show off. He didn't want to put the ball down the field. He didn't want to show any big plays. Kyle called a couple of plays for him in the reps, and he just went bang, bang, done off the field. And then if you think about the way Kyle, have you listened to the play callers on The Athletic? Again, I'll put this link into the YouTube description, into the section there. But that's another really good podcast series where Jordan Rodriguez, who covers the Rams, interviews Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, the guy who coaches the Green Bay Packers, whose name escapes me, and the guy who coached the Miami Dolphins right now, who's both names escape me. Sorry, I should know them.
Mike McDaniels, and
LaFleur, right?
And the brother, he's the But I mean, they're all essentially from the
Well, they all came from the Washington Command or the Washington Redskins back then, under his dad Mike. But anyway, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. Kyle Shanahan wants a quarterback to play a certain way. Brock does that. I think that Trey probably goes off script every now and again, and that's a no-no under Kyle. Anything to add?
Yeah, that's the issue, I think, for him. Yeah, no, that's the issue for him. But I can't see Sam Darnold being quarterback 3 based off rolling into the period before training camp when they don't even have pads on and they're not throwing live bullets. There's no offensive and defensive line. There's no chance for him to do his Sam Darnold thing and see ghosts and play the way that Sam Darnold has put on tape for a number of years now. That you're going to compact that all into a very, very small couple of weeks of practice and go, Sam Darnold is over Trey Lance. It doesn't make sense to me from an evaluation standpoint.
I don't think it's going to happen. And the last one we'll get onto, mate, is how much do you think Bosa is going to get? So he is not training. The other person that's not training is Aussie Mitch. Aussie Mitch did his back doing some weights in the weight room. They actually did another signing that happened today was a guy by the name of Terrence Mitchell he's been a bit of a journeyman Bears and 3 or 4 other teams. I know he was at the Titans last season, but yeah, there's a guy that has hurt himself on our roster, so that they've taken care of his position. And Bosa what's he in line for? Is he in line for what is he going to get? 30, 35, 40 million a year? What's the number?
Yeah, I think he's going to look for an APY of above or the highest paid. So I mean, I think he probably deserves it. And it's probably going to come down to here now. What's the guarantees for him? But I would like them to see him. I'd like to see him locked up for 5 years minimum. And I think he's probably gonna crack that 200 million.
That's the call, right? So he's probably going to get 200 mil. We can't lose him.
Yeah, but it's all going to come down to the guarantees, though. So I don't think it's going to be out of line. Like they're talking about that even this year, that first year of this contract will actually reduce and give us some breathing space even further in the salary cap, and they'll back end the deal and they'll do all types of magic that they do with it. But it can look like 5 years, $200 million. But what the guarantees are is where the real nuts and bolts of the deal will be.
Yeah. All right. So look, football's back. Brock's back at QB1. He's not going to throw 2 or 3 days in succession, more than 2 days in succession. I think he's going to throw tomorrow. He won't throw tomorrow, and he'll throw the next couple of days. I think it's Trey and Sam tomorrow. So I'll be looking forward to seeing what comes back from out of tomorrow. Bosa's going to get his bag. He has to. Sam Darnold, I think, will have to be QB3. I hope to God that Trey Lance just shows what he's capable of with this improved mechanics. It's 3 years in the NFL now, thus it not being he's only had 4 games, but hopefully in the three preseason games, we've got Raiders, we've got the Broncos, and we've got the Chargers, don't we? The Chargers? Yeah, we've got the Chargers as our preseason
I believe
game.
so.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting going into a mini camp scenario with the Raiders and going up against Jimmy Garoppolo. It'll be very funny.
They're going to nail him. They're going to nail his ass to the floor, man. I can just they're not going to hold back. They're not going to hold back. But anyway, look, just a quick prediction from me, mate. I reckon Brandon Ayuk is going to be the breakout. He's going to score. I reckon I'm calling 1,500-1,600 yard season this year.
Yeah, I agree. I love BA. I'm hoping Drake Jackson can come back and show something. And as always, I just want this first week or few sessions to go through without a major injury. You've already seen a couple of big boys go down around the league in the opening couple of days of their practice sessions. I just wanted to get through. No reports of non-contact injuries to knees and things, please.
Yeah, 100%. All right, John. Well, mate. Well, that was good. Good start to the year. We might jump on tomorrow night, depending on what sort of news comes out of camp. But the football season is back, ladies and gentlemen. NinersDNA, the Australian 49ers contingent is out, and we'll see you soon.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.